Thank you very much, Dr. Fitzpatrick. And I'd make a few comments. Or Senator McGreehan referred to the absence of the political institutions. And of course, a lot of this work on a North-South basis should have been going on at the North-South Ministerial Council, where ministers would meet in sectoral format. And they could be making progress in regard to convergence in regard to our systems, and one learning from the other, hoping to bring the better parts of the other system into one's own schemes and that. Dr. Fitzpatrick, Senator O'Donnell and myself would have heard you speak very animatedly in Ulster University a few weeks ago in regard to the whole childcare and the difficulties there with a lack of childcare strategy since over many years. And I think again you highlighted today where there's not adequate support for childcare, it puts a particular onus on families and more so on mothers generally. Could I just say a few comments? The Cathaoirleach mentioned earlier, and as Senator McGreehan mentioned to me as well, the value of the community welfare officer. Now, unfortunately in this country in recent years, we have lost a lot of those officers. There are less of them now, and the people don't have as good an access to them as they had in the past. And again, there's nothing to beat an official knowing the local, having some local knowledge and knowing families. As a person who has served as a public representative over many decades now, I know in many instances the community welfare officer, when any of us would approach that person, a family, a serious difficulty had arisen, illness, whatever, maybe bereavement, the community welfare officers would know who to support, and that support was readily given, whether that was Friday, Saturday or Sunday. That system worked very well. We don't have enough of it in person today, is my belief. And the one thing that's often neglected in society is the fact that we think everybody has IT skills and that they have access to applying online and that. I think there's in our public governance and in the delivery of public services, and this goes for private companies as well, there's very little tolerance shown for people who don't have IT knowledge and don't have IT skills, and it's reprehensible. Try to ring any big public utility, apart from public offices, public service offices, you're asked to press X, Y, or Z, can't get talking to people. I think that's a terrible infringement on the rights of individuals as well. So from the point of view of the community welfare officer, I would love to see that the numbers being reversed to have more community welfare officers, more locally based, knowing more of the families, the clientele. And again, over the years, and I have to say, I can recall so well so many instances of me and other public representatives contacting them when a family ran into particular difficulty, and there was always help and support there. And many of those officers went way beyond the call of duty. Now, any of us, and I have to say, Senator McGreehan said herself she had a bad experience in dealing with social welfare. The reality is that my experience is the overwhelming majority of officials work very hard and they want to provide people with support. In our job, in your job, or in any profession, there will be people not doing their job adequately, and that's deplorable. So it is, and again, I think it's very important where there's local knowledge. You mentioned about I'm delighted that you have this particular group, the All Ireland Social Security Network, established. And I think we can learn so much from one another and take what's good in our system and transpose it, hopefully, to Northern Ireland as well, or similarly for ourselves. Just with regard to pensions, one thing that's often overlooked is we talk about Britain funding pensions in this country. We fund a huge amount of pensions of Irish people who are domiciled in Britain, and that's quite right. But it's a very substantial transfer of money, and I don't think there would ever be any doubt to that. And that didn't just start in 2019. There was mention made in Ciara's paper of the Convention of Social Security in 2019. That system has existed for many years, to my knowledge. Just with regard, and it was Dr. Boland again, you mentioned about people being brought in for meetings and that. And of course, if people are brought in for meetings, it shouldn't be in any intimidatory fashion. Under no circumstance it shouldn't. But I think it was Senator Curry referred to it. Activation is important as well. And I know, I can recall some people over the years who had been on long-term unemployment, who had been in receipt of long-term payments. And actually the encouragement they got from some officials that there might be a suitable course available that would meet their particular needs. And again, it shouldn't be a matter of compulsion. It should be encouragement and facilitating a person whom an official would think would be suitable to follow a particular course and get into employment. I know people myself who had the fear of God in them when they got this letter to go in, but subsequently they said it was one of the best things ever happened to them, that they were given the option maybe to take up a course or win it, and they took up employment, and thankfully are in gainful employment since. Is there enough interaction between the Department of Social Protection in our case and the Department in Northern Ireland with regard to colleges of further education, the provision of courses, meeting the needs of people who are in long-term social welfare, that really could activate their skills and give them some basic skills and give them an opportunity and a pathway into employment? And again, I'm emphasising, it's not about compulsion.